How's it going, guys and girls? Hope you guys are having a great weekend. So I'm back today with another video. Now this one, guys, is completely impromptu. I was not planning or expecting to record this video, but sometimes, you know, there'll be moments when something will happen. I'll experience something gaming related, and I'll just want to talk about it. I'll just want to put it out there, and this is one of those videos. Now I already know that Nintendo are going to claim this video. I know I'm not going to earn any revenue from my channel. That's okay. My channel is a vehicle for me to share my thoughts, my opinions on gaming, as well, of course, for many other things which you guys already know about. So this one really is going to focus on Nintendo's online features, specifically looking at my recent experience with Splatoon 2. Now, a lot of you know that I bought a Nintendo Switch a few weeks ago, and I've been really enjoying it. And Dante, myself, and Fish are big fans of Splatoon 2. We've been playing the hell out of it over the last sort of 2 weeks, I'd say, and really enjoying it. Well, this weekend, for those of you that might not know, there was the monthly Splatfest, which was taking place, and it took place on Saturday from 3 p.m. British time, Saturday until 3 p.m. Sunday, British time again. Now, you could basically choose to play either as on the team of mayo or on the team of ketchup, so you could vote for whatever condiment you preferred. Now, myself, Dante, and Fish, we all chose ketchup. That was what we preferred, and that's what we voted for. Now, the results of the Splatfest hit about 3 or 4 hours ago, maybe 5 hours ago, and there's just absolute outcry, and there's good reason for it. So I want to first talk a little bit about the Splatfest and how I think the system doesn't work, and then I just want to talk about generally about the online features and how I think Nintendo really needs to get its shit together when it comes to online gameplay. So let's start with the Splatfest. Well, firstly, with the Splatfest, there are 3 things that get looked at in terms of which team will win. The first is a popularity vote. Then you have the number of matches which are won. So whichever team won the most matches in solo matches and also in team-based matches as well. And if you win, you basically get something called a special sort of sea snails, super sea snails, I think they're called. And they basically allow you to add extra spaces onto your gear and equipment and to re-roll sort of RNG abilities that you get given as your gear levels up. So if you don't like a particular ability, you can use this snail to re-roll it and get the gear that you want. So for hardcore gamers of Splatoon 2 and people that really enjoy the online gameplay element, these snails are really sort of sought after. So that's pretty much the purpose of the Splatfest, to explain it to you for people that don't know. So basically, the reason there is a lot of reaction to this is the popularity vote for mayo versus ketchup in the Europe was pretty much not surprising. 66% of gamers actually voted to be on the side of ketchup, and only 34% voted for mayo. So ketchup massively won the popularity vote, but when it came to the actual matches and winning games, the fights were actually very close, but mayo actually won with 51% to ketchup's 49% in solo matches, and again 51% and 49% respectively in team-based matches as well. So overall, mayo won the competition. Now this has created a huge uproar, and with good reason. As a ketchup player, one of the biggest frustrations that Dante, myself, and Fish experienced last night was that because there were more ketchup players than there were mayo players, the servers basically could not deal with this. Nintendo didn't have this idea in plan. They hadn't thought about this issue or this problem. God knows what they were thinking, but the basic problem was that last night we pretty much started playing from about 4 o'clock, and we kind of marathoned it all the way through the night. And out of, you know, those matches, I would say about 80% of them we got matchmaked, partnered with fellow ketchup players. So the matches were 4v4, so one ketchup team against another ketchup team. About 80% of our matches were ketchup, and only about 20% were mayo, because most players were not mayo, right? Now, the problem that we've got for many people is people kind of feel gypped. They feel like they haven't really contributed to this competition. You know, a lot of people are like, well, you know, I won all my matches last night. I won all of them. I played brilliantly. I played my squid socks off. I did really well, performed really well. I got up to the highest level in the Splatfest, so Ketchup King or Ketchup Queen, I think it was. But none of the time that I put into the Splatfest had actually any effect on the results, because 80% of my matches against fellow Ketchup players were not counted. So only those 10% or that 20% against male players, maybe I won 60 or 70% of those matches, and those counted, but most of the time I spent into it counted for nothing. So I basically dedicated all this time, all this effort, all this energy for no particular reason. And I think that's the point where people feel really annoyed, is that a lot of people felt that they hadn't contributed. A lot of people felt that the matchmaking was really unfair and unbalanced. And sometimes, when you were trying to find a game and it couldn't find a male player, the servers would just kick you out and you'd have to go back into it and research again. So it was a constant problem all night of being kicked out of games, having to go back in, struggling to find male players, and only having most of your matches against Ketchup players, and obviously that not counting. Now, yes, it does make sense it not counting, because if those games counted, then the actual combat itself would just be a popularity vote, which would be very unfair, for those people that chose male. So I completely understand what they're saying there. My opinion on this is that I don't think it's something that should become a popularity vote, because you're always going to have this issue where there are going to be more Ketchup players than there are male players, and the servers are going to always struggle to match that equal number of Ketchup and male players, and you're always going to have that problem. And I remember this being a similar problem in previous Splatfest. So my opinion on this solution would be rather than giving people the choice, when they log in, they get given a team, right? So you are given mayo, you are given Ketchup, and that is a split 50-50%. And it's split randomly. So it's split randomly in terms of, ability, in terms of whether you've played the game for a week, 2 weeks, whether you've been playing the game since the beginning, since it came out, whether you played the original Splatoon or you didn't, whatever level you are, it's completely split down the middle, 50-50, right? I think that's the only way really to solve these sorts of issues. Other than that, it's making better matchmaking schemes so that you can match more easily with players of the opposite team, so that you actually feel that you are contributing. So maybe 50% of the games you play are against fellow Ketchup players, because there are more Ketchup players out there, but also 50% are also against male players. So you at least feel like you're contributing to this overall competition. And I think that's the biggest issue that people have. People feel like they were gypped. People feel like it's been rigged. That's the biggest issue people have had, and maybe that is one way to resolve it. So that's talking about the Splatfest generally. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Nintendo's online features, because Dante, Fish and I, when we were playing this game last night, we were sat down, we were talking about it, and we talked about all the issues and all the problems that Nintendo have in terms of its online features, and we just couldn't understand why Nintendo couldn't get it right. So when we were going into playing this game, we wanted to play the Splatfest together. Okay, that was our whole idea. We were all Team Ketchup. We wanted to play with our friends, play together, coordinate against opposite teams, play to our strengths. So, use tactics. Like you use a particular weapon because it's good at coverage. You use another weapon because it's a hard hitter. It'll be good for covering and supporting people, and really play it tactically, which is what the game is about. The game is all about teamwork, working together to cover the area, to complete the objective. Well, we went into the Team Splatfest private lobby, and all three of us signed in, and then on the fourth one it had a waiting. And the really frustrating thing is you needed a minimum team of 4 people to be able to play together in a team, and you didn't even have the ability to search for your friends that might have been playing in the Splatfest and actually join them. That option was removed. Now that option is usually in game. You can usually do that when you're playing just normal sort of turf war. But they chose to remove that for the Splatfest, which made absolutely no sense. So what we ended up luckily doing in the end is we did have a fourth friend that was playing online and was a Splatoon player, and he jumped in and he played with us, but he wasn't with us and we couldn't talk, so it wasn't the same kind of experience. But that already started us off very annoyed and very frustrated. And then pretty much today, because our other fourth friend wasn't there, we ended up having to play the Splatfest individually. So we just ended up going into it solo and playing our own individual matches. We weren't able to play together as a team, and that just really doesn't make sense. Why can you not just create a private party of 2 or 3 people and then invite randomers into your team to fill up the numbers? Like, you can do this in another mode, which is called Salmon Run in Splatoon 2, which is really, really fun. And you can do that. You can create a team of 2 or 3 people and then just invite in random gamers. Now, why was this not in the Splatfest tournament? It's little things like this that really don't make any sense. Like Nintendo is supposed to be trying to make things easier for you, but then they're putting some things in but taking other things away in different modes, and it just doesn't make any sense. The same thing again, party chat is also an incredibly difficult thing on the Nintendo Switch. If you're wanting to actually have some form of party chat, it's a rigmarole. It's really complex. You end up having to buy a separate headset, and then that has to be plugged into your Switch and also into your phone, and your phone is used as sort of the processing power, the vehicle to actually talk with your friends, and that's kind of how it works. So you don't just plug it into your Switch, invite friends into a party, and away you go. And you can also talk to other people on the opposing team and whatever and whatnot. Like, I don't know what it is. I mean, I know obviously the Nintendo Switch is a family-orientated console. I know that they're going to want to try to avoid all the bad atmosphere and name calling and all the shit that happens in games like Call of Duty, right? I understand that they're wanting to avoid that happening. I understand that that's why they make it a little bit more difficult for people to be able to have party chat. But for online gamers like myself and people that like to play with my friends and communicate with my friends, and this is a game about communication, it's a team-based game, it just seems like Nintendo are making things overly complex. And their servers aren't the greatest as well. Quite a few times you'd lose connection or you'd get kicked out, or it would struggle to find people to play against, and you get reset and everything. So there are issues. There are definite issues when it comes to Nintendo's online features, and I just don't understand why Nintendo cannot get this right. It seems like a problem every single generation, every console from the Wii, the Wii U, and now the Nintendo Switch, they just cannot get this online feature right. And I think Splatoon 2, and I think also the most recent Splatfest, has really highlighted all those issues on all those problems. And I think many gamers are starting to get fed up with it. I think Nintendo assume that the majority of their fan base, that the majority of their consumers are children, are families, and I'm sorry, Nintendo, but that is just not the case. The majority of your fan base and the majority of your consumers are adult gamers. They are gamers that have been with you really since the old days of Nintendo 64 and GameCube and Wii and Wii U. Like, these are not new gamers, and for adults that have experienced online gaming on the PS4 and on the Xbox One, it's just a glaring weakness with the Nintendo Switch that is going to hurt it over time, and particularly when it comes to things like cross-platform games and playing games online, it's going to hinder that console. And it's such a shame because the Nintendo Switch has so much potential with it being a portable console, being able to take it anywhere and play it anywhere. That's one of its most appealing features. So if you can take that and also portably take that online gameplay as well, whether you go to a friend's house or a family house or even to a hotel or whatever, you can access Wi-Fi from anywhere. You can play online and you can experience that. And it just seems like an oversight for Nintendo, and it is something that Nintendo really need to get to grips with now. They need to hire someone, whether it's from Nintendo America, Nintendo Europe, wherever it is. They need to hire somebody that has experience, whether they've worked for EA or Ubisoft, who knows, that has experience in online gaming and that can actually improve what is happening at the moment. Because the Splatfest this weekend, while it was fun to play, the results are disappointing for those people that chose ketchup. A lot of gamers feel cheated. The whole issue of not being able to play with your friends as easily, the whole issues with party chats, with matchmaking, and so on. These are problems that need addressing, especially if Nintendo are going to start charging for their online features, which they are going to do, and they have said they are going to do in the next sort of 12 months. Now, it's not going to be as expensive as PlayStation Network or Xbox Live. They have said that. But if you're going to start charging for your online features, then your online features need to be good. They need to be in place, they need to be solid, and they need to be on par with other consoles and other developers and that are out there and other platforms. And you really need to get your act together, Nintendo, at the moment. So that is what I wanted to say tonight, guys. It's a little bit of a rant video, it's a little bit of an opinion piece, it's totally random, but I wanted to share it with you guys, and I wanted to see what you guys thought of it. And any of you out there, if you did play the Splatfest this weekend, what team were you, what side did you choose, and what do you think of the results? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, I'll be back again later this week, guys, with more videos. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Take care, and as always, happy gaming.